and thank you for tuning in once again to Velvet Owl Watches Movies so you don't have to. Or if this is your first time tuning in, the basic concept of this podcast is that I, Velvet Owl, will watch a movie for the sake of you not having to watch the movie yourself. Pretty simple concept, right? And if you've listened before, I constantly get distracted by my cats who decide to sleep. And my cat makes like this weird like bird noise snoring when he sleeps. It's very distracting, but it's also very, very cute. Except for the time I watched The Brown Bunny. Instead of sleeping, he fucking like actively tried to stop the movie all the time. Just to give you a sense of it. But this week we are watching, or I am watching, and you are listening to me watch Amazing Ape. Because any movie where an ape is like kind of doing some sort of human thing is fantastically bad. So this is just going to be perfect, right? The picture of the cover shows this monkey in like a laboratory outfit or a doctor's outfit. He's got kind of the the doctor's coat and a stethoscope and a little clipboard, which I assume he's got the patient information. And the description is a gifted laboratory chimp and young boy diagnosed with terminal cancer become unlikely friends in this touching story of hope and courage. And I'm watching this on Tubi, which Tubi still will not give me a sponsorship, even though most of the movies I watch are on Tubi. Then again, maybe they just think like, wait, the whole point of your show is that you're encouraging people not to watch these movies. So I understand why Tubi's like hesitant. Plus, I still haven't contacted them. I should do that and be like, hey, I get like 3 listeners. It's perfect. But interestingly, there's no one listed for starring. And almost always they have like starring, even though if it's people you never heard of. So that's probably a bad sign, isn't it? That they're like so unknown, or either everyone's decided, do not mention that I was an amazing ape. Which I won't mention because I don't know any of your names. So, while my cat purrs and makes cute sounds, I am going to press play and learn more about this amazing ape. We start off with the narrator telling us about how most stories about apes try to scare you, like King Kong and Planet of the Apes, telling you about how apes are going to take over and kill you. Which I think is kind of like an unfair characterization. King Kong, he was a good ape. It was humanity that was the beast. King Kong was the beauty. As far as I'm concerned, fucking people just came and took him from his home, where he was chillaxing, and they're like, hey, perform for us, monkey. And he's all like, I'm not going to perform for you, but I like this girl who's kind of like a 20th the size of my size. But I love her anyhow. And Planet of the Apes, again, it wasn't the apes that ruined us or took over the planet. We destroyed the planet ourselves. Remember? We blew it up. Damn you. Damn you to hell. So, again, it wasn't the apes' fault. We destroyed our planet, and the apes just, in the natural order of the world, took over. That's how it went. And if you watch the sequels, it's all about, like, they're trying to destroy and kill the apes to make sure it doesn't happen. So, really, the stories are not telling you that apes are horrible. Stories are about how people are horrible. But this isn't going to be one of those stories that scares you about apes. Because it's about an ape named Simon, who saved them when he was 9 years old. So we're going back to the past. So I don't know if this movie's set in the past or if the narration's set in the future. But Simon's gonna save him. And we start off with seeing like apes doing cute little ape things. And the on-screen title says The Amazing Ape. Not just Amazing Ape. Which I think is it's an important distinction. Because it's not just, hey, this ape is amazing. He is the ape that is amazing. He is a magician or something, I guess. He's the amazing ape. There are no other amazing apes. It's just him. And we start off after the apes doing all sorts of cute things. One of them is captured, and the hunters, poachers, whatever they're supposed to be, are handing it over to this guy in kind of like a Jungle Cruise outfit. And, you know, they're like, we want the money! He's like, you got the ape. I'll give you your money. We want the money now! And he hands over the monkey. He hands over the money, and they hand over the monkey. Or ape. I don't know, he called him a monkey, but the movie's Amazing Ape. And remember, if you flunked out of, like, geology class, not geology class, biology, or animalology, in some sort of school, apes are not monkeys. Or, I mean, monkeys are not apes. They are different species. They are a different classification. So I don't know if this is a monkey or an ape. More likely the movie doesn't think there's a difference between the two. Because the movie is fucking speciesist. The movie's set in 1997. Which, I'm not sure why I was thinking that if it was set in the past, it was going to be in like the 50s or something. The 90s is the past, folks. As sad as that is. For me. If you're like a Zoomer listening to this, like, oh yeah, the 90s are in the past, old fart. That's just how it is. But we're at the U.S. Air Force chimpanzee habitat. Which, I don't know if that's actually a thing. Must be. I mean, it seems likely. Like, they train chimpanzees to fly jets. That was that Matthew Broderick movie. What was it? Plan X? Project X? Something X. Where they were training the monkeys, and the monkeys were not happy. The chimpanzees. Sorry, I didn't mean to be speciesist there. They were chimpanzees in that movie. And so this blonde lady... And first of all, I'm going to say, these aren't real chimps in the movie. Like, they are, like, obviously, like, little people inside of costumes. Because the problem is, real chimps are smart. Too smart to be in this movie. You know, they talked to their agent, they read their script, like, oh, no. I am not being in fucking Amazing Ape. You go get me, like, a sequel to Congo or something. Get me into the Planet of the Apes reboot. But, no, not an Amazing Ape. So, but there's this blonde lady, and she's giving a tour to some civilians, and talking about how smart chimpanzees are, which, as, you know, evidenced by the fact that they won't be in this movie. And then her dad, who's like a colonel or something, very high-ranking guy, he's like, oh, we can't have this tour. Like, it's illegal for civilians to be up here. And she's like, Dad, I'm just trying to teach people that chimps are smart. And he's like, something like that. I didn't really catch what he was saying. That would require paying attention. In some movies, just paying attention is a little too painful. But apparently she's going to go volunteer at something. And the dad's happy about that. Because it probably gets her out of his hair. So, yeah, you go, honey. Go do that volunteering stuff. Now we get a scene of this little kid that I assume is the narrator, his past self. And he's coughing because Mom is standing right in front of him smoking a cigarette. You are a horrible, horrible woman. I'm sorry. This is fucking late 90s. We knew secondhand smoke kills. You know, if this movie was set in the 50s, I could be like, oh, they just didn't really know at the time. They thought, inhaling that secondhand smoke was just like, even better than the real thing. But no, you should know that you're fucking killing him by smoking, like, in his face. It's not even like she's, like, off to the side or something. They're, like, face to face, and she's smoking. And then she sees in the newspaper, there's a story about that all cooked food has some sort of carcinogen. Which, no, lady. You don't get to be concerned about carcinogens in the food when you fucking smoke in front of your kid. No. Although I am so hoping that that's where this movie is going. Like, oh, cooked food, carcinogen. Smoking is fine. Oh, please. Actually, I hope that is this lady's beliefs. Now, Mom takes the kid, whose name is Albie. Which is a really horrible name, so I'm going to call him Albie for the rest of the film. And, I normally don't use people's actual names from the films. But Albie is such a terrible name, and this kid deserves it. So Mom takes Albie to the hospital, and while he's outside, he drinks a huge can of soda. And, like, the camera just lingers on it, so this must be important. Maybe the soda is what's making him sick. Not that Mom smokes in front of him. I think it's the soda. And so she goes in and they get the results. And it's the big C. Cancer. Rare form of cancer. And they don't know how he could have got it. A lot of times cancer just happens. And B, Mom fucking smokes in front of him. Like, not even like across the room. Like right in fucking front of him. While she knows that he's sick, because he's coughing all the time. And she's like, oh, gonna smoke. No, I think they're probably gonna blame the soda, aren't they? And, radiation is an option, but Albie doesn't want radiation, because it's gonna cause his hair to fall out, and all the other kids are gonna make fun of him. And Mom's like, well, we'll just take you out of school. He's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be a radiated freak. So obviously this kid doesn't read X-Men. Because if I was a kid, when I was a kid and they told me I had to undergo radiation, I'd be like, fucking awesome. Maybe I'll become a mutant. This is awesome. Because little kids that read X-Men and love X-Men don't realize, like, the kind of mutated genetic mutations that radiation cause do not give you superpowers. But he runs out of the room and the doctor looks at Mom and says, 3 to 6 weeks. Now, I don't know if that means they have 3 to 6 weeks before starting radiation for it to still have a chance to be effective, or if he just has 3 to 6 weeks to live. Which, if that's the case, if he has 3 to 6 weeks to live, then fuck radiation. Like, let this kid, like, live out his fullest life until then. If you don't think... Because the doctor doesn't even know if radiation is going to be effective. So, fuck that. Let the kid live. With his hair. Just take him on, like, some sort of journey. Let it be, like, one of those, like, last holiday type trips. And just do whatever he wants. And then find a prostitute to get the kid laid. Granted, might be a little excessive. He is young, so not laid. But find a prostitute to show him her tits. Because every boy deserves to see a pair of tits before he dies. That's my personal opinion. Now, over at the Air Force Chimp Division, the poacher's there. And apparently he's gotten permission to come take the chimpanzees away. Because the Air Force can't really keep housing them. Because there's like 146 of them. And you can tell this guy's evil. Because he's got a giant scar across his eye. And the eye... Well, near his eye, but the eye is also a different color. So I think it was meant to be that, he got like an eye clot out and he's got a fake eye. But they couldn't quite afford enough makeup for that, so they just put a fake scar and a contact lens on him. But he's evil. And, you shouldn't judge people based on how they look. But apparently he works for a pharmaceutical company, and they're gonna do experiments on those chimps. So yeah, he is evil. And of course, Blondie isn't happy about that at all. And her father, the Air Force general, he surprisingly isn't happy about it either. Like, I thought he was just gonna be like completely cold-hearted about it, but he does not like that they're gonna take him and do experiments on them. Unfortunately, he realizes the severity of the situation, in that, where else are they going to put 146 chimps? They'd love to keep them, but his hands are tied. But Blondie, I bet she's going to find a way to keep those chimps away from evil pharmaceutical poacher. Now, Albie's at home, and this little girl shows up, and I was thinking it was his sister, but it's just some girl from school, some neighbor girl, and she's supposed to be in school, which, does that mean he's out of school because he's not at school, or did he just have the day off because he was going to the doctor's? Because he seemed very adamant about going back to school, but if he's already out of school. But anyways, the little girl ran away from school because today every kid had to get their vaccination. Ooh. And I don't know if she's just scared of the needle or if she's an anti-vaxxer. But I feel like that's where this movie's going. Vaccination, bad. And this movie's like from 2015, so that was kind of like the anti-vax movement hadn't fully like gone crazy like it has now. But I mean, it was still kind of bad. Thank you, Oprah and Jenny McCarthy, for your wonderful, wizened, in no way half-assed medical skills knowledge, for introducing the idea of vaccinations being bad. And that's why this little girl, obviously, she watched Jenny McCarthy on Oprah, because what little girl doesn't want to see Jenny McCarthy on the Oprah Winfrey Show? So, but then they're playing in the backyard, and there's all these ants, and oh no, they got into her pants. Ha 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 ha, ants in her pants. And so she takes her pants off. Oh, just as Mom comes home. Oops. Little boys and little girls should not be taking their pants off. And Mom's like, oh, I see why you want to go back to school. It's because of this hussy. Which, Mom, he's got 3 to 6 weeks left to live. Let him have some fun. Enjoy the time with the anti-vax hussy. Just give him a break. But over at the chimp department, Blondie has made some avocado wraps for Simon, who's the lead chimp. Because, she can't get safe passage for 147 chimps. But she's going to try to sneak away this one chimp. Because he's the top chimp. The top chimp. Where am I going with that? So anyway, she is going to help break him free because he is the smartest. And back at home, not Blondie's home, but Albie's home, Mom's going to order pizza for dinner, but Albie's like, no, I feel too sick. I'm just going to bed. And Mom's like, you got to take your pills. Like, I don't want to take pills. But they make you feel better. Like, I'm fine. And the next day at the doctor's, like, Albie's, like, waiting out in the car because he doesn't want to see the doctor. And the test results say that there's been no change. And the doctor's saying, like, we might have to up the meds. And Mom's like, but Albie hates taking them. Of course he hates taking them. He's a fucking kid. What kid likes taking medicine? That is why you, as a parent, have to, like, set boundaries and be like, yeah, you don't like them, but they're going to fucking help you live. Because I tell you, when I was a kid, I had strep throat. And this was back before they, like, really had, like, antibiotic pills. So I had to get, like, this liquid antibiotic, which fucking tasted like chalk. And I'm like, I don't want to drink that. I don't want to take that medicine. And my mom was like, okay, you don't have to finish the medicine. And I go back to the hospital. And guess what? My strep throat was still there. And the doctor yelled at me. Well, not yelled, but talked sternly to me. And they said, you want to get rid of the strep throat? You fucking finished this. So, I did it. I finished it. And you know what happened when I finished my medicine? Strep throat was gone. Now, that's not quite perfect analogy because Albie has like fucking rare form of cancer of the ass. I don't know if it's of the ass. I don't know what the cancer is. It's super rare. And so the medicines aren't working and they're going to have to try chemotherapy. But, you know, since Albie, you know, it's all about him and what he wants to do. Which I'm torn because, you know, the kid shouldn't fucking run the show. But he's got 3 to 6 weeks to live. So part of me is like, well, if he's got 3 to 6 weeks to live, then let him not take the medicine. Let him live. But that's the problem, is that mom's not letting him live either. Because a girl takes off her pants, and she's like, no, you can't do that. Even though Albie only has 3 to 6 weeks to live, let him play doctor. They weren't even playing doctor, but let him see. It's not like she's over 18. It was another little girl. She was about his age. So let him have it. Now, Albie apparently has ridden his bike and bought a hot dog somewhere. I guess he's got his own money. And also, okay, like his mom, I don't know how she found out, but she's supposed to be at work. Now, Albie's not at school, but he's got fucking rare form of cancer. Who the fuck was watching Albie? You just let your sick kid just like stay at home. And I don't know, when I come home, you might be dead. Who knows? Shouldn't someone be watching Albie? Come on, Mom. You must have a mom yourself or a dad, someone in your family who can watch Albie while you're out at work. And apparently Albie has money to go buy hot dogs. But Mom's mad because, you know, he's too sick to be riding his bike. Which, Mom, he's got 3 to 6 weeks to live. Let him ride his fucking bike. But apparently her job is to inspect the chimps that are coming. So she works at the pharmaceutical company. And I'm not entirely sure I got the gist of, like, her conversation here. But I think she's planning on firing a guy because his kids are sick. And I really hope that's not true. Because, lady, your kid is sick. So you should understand, like, how, you know, tough it might be when your kids are sick. And having to juggle that with your job. But yeah, her job is to inspect the chimps. Meanwhile, Blondie, she's lost Simon. He left the truck, and who knows where he is. Well, we know, because we see him. And he stumbles across this homeless wino who sees Simon and thinks like it's just a hairy little guy. He's like, oh, well, you know, we can't have you running around naked. So he gives Simon his jacket and hat so that no one will be able to tell that he's naked. So, you know, very kind of the homeless wino to look out for his fellow man. His fellow chimp. So while Blondie is searching for Simon, she runs into Albie and Mom. And she knows Mom from way back in the day. And Albie goes off to run and play or something. I'm not sure. She just kind of lets Albie go. Even though, you know, you keep Albie out of your sight, he goes and does stuff that he's not supposed to because he's sick and he's dying and theoretically doesn't have the energy. But sure. Whatever. Let him go play because Mom and Blondie need to have a serious talk because Albie's dying. He's got cancer and it's spread throughout his entire body. He's gonna die. And Blondie's like, well, you know, there's a way to save him. Change to a raw food diet. Oh boy. This film is going there, isn't it? Anti-vax and fucking raw food diet. Like, no, you don't need medicine. You need to eat better. And, like, because apparently cooked food is basically the same as eating melted plastic. Sure, we'll go with that logic. And I mean, the logic is not so much the melted plastic part of the logic, but I guess there is some sort of logic behind the idea that, animals in the wild, they eat raw food. They don't eat cooked food. They eat raw food, and they're perfectly healthy. Yeah. About that, though, animals in the wild also die. And I'm pretty sure if we did very heavy studying of animals on the wild, we'll see that they also get diseases. I'm sure there is a good portion of animals in the wild that get their own form of cancer. So I don't know if raw food is 100% the way to go. I get your logic. I just don't know if it's sound logic. And Mom's like, well, cooked food isn't what gave Albie cancer. And I agree with Mom. Because she was smoking in front of Albie. I am not letting that go. Mom fucking smoked in front of her son while she knew he was sick. I am 100% blaming the cancer on Mom. And I don't think raw food would save this kid's cancer. Or save this kid from cancer. You don't want to save the cancer itself. But I bet this film is going to teach us that raw food cures cancer. Meanwhile, Simon, still hanging out with the homeless wino, has somehow picked up a pair of chicks. Fucking hot chicks. Wow. These, they're just your stereotypical, Sunset Strip bimbos that are gonna fuck Guns N' Roses. Or, these girls look like they'll even settle for, Dachshund. Or Striper. Except Striper are super religious, so they would not sleep with the groupies. They would read them Bible verses. And, okay, maybe I can buy that, these, bimbos, and I don't care. It's probably offensive, but they look like bimbos to me. And this film obviously isn't going very deep with characterization for me to pretend they're anything but bimbos. So I can buy bimbos just coming across a chimp and be like, yeah, let's hang out with this guy. This guy's awesome. Sure, he's short and hairy, but so is Wolverine. Although I don't think the bimbos are reading X-Men either. But that's fine and good. But he's still hanging out with a homeless wino that probably smells fucking horrible. So at that point, they probably would have been like, okay, chimp, we'll hang out with you, even though you're not talking and making just weird guttural noises. But you gotta fucking lose the wino. Or at least have him take a bath first. So Albie's walking. I don't know where to. I think he's walking to the car. When suddenly Simon jumps out. And scares him. Oh no. And Blondie's there oh, don't worry. Simon just has a bad sense of humor from the stupid movies he watches. Yeah, I'm guessing movies like Amazing Ape. And so, but Blondie tells Albie don't worry, there is a way we can cure you. Yep, so I guess she's going to tell Albie all about the wonders of a raw food diet. So now Albie's back in the car with Mom, and Mom's driving to work. But there's all these protesters outside because, animal testing is bad. Which I agree with. I'm kind of on the side of the protesters here. And I just got to mention, one sign that I think is awesome. It's Gandhi, Buddha, Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, Jesus, and God were all vegetarians. Now, I'm not going to go and look up, obviously Buddha and Gandhi would be vegetarians. I think that's just kind of part of, their religion. And I'm not going to check on Einstein or Darwin, because, whatever. But God and Jesus, I don't know if God even eats food. And then Jesus, remember the whole fish loaves story, and he made fish loaves just never end. So I think at the very least Jesus is like a pescatarian. I don't think he's a full-on vegetarian. And even if he himself doesn't eat fish, he is perfectly fine with other people eating fish. So, he's not good for your cause. And also, I think making a list of vegetarians personally is not like a very strong argument for why you shouldn't test on animals. Because, you know who else was a vegetarian? Hitler. And if you're going to list the good people that are vegetarians, you also have to list the bad people. Just to keep things fair. But a homeless wino guy manages to sneak up and give a pamphlet to the kid before he rolls up his window. I don't know where homeless wino got his pamphlet from. Actually, I'm not even sure if this is the same homeless wino. But this guy's like very dirty and has not bathed in a couple of months. And it's a pamphlet all about how, vaccines and medicine and all that doesn't work to cure anything. Like polio hasn't been cured and people still get the measles and mumps. So, people do still get the measles and mumps. You know why? Because we at some point started saying, oh, yeah, kids don't need to get vaccinated for the measles and mumps. And not really that we said they don't have to. It's that people decided, fuck no, I'm not going to get measles and mumps because I don't want my kids to be autistic. Because that's the worst thing in the world, right? Like, I'd rather my kid die from the measles and mumps than be autistic. Fuck you, people. That's, like, just fuck you, anti-vaxxers. Like, but especially, like, okay, I'm not going to get all political. COVID vaccine, that is a completely separate argument. I can understand some of the arguments because it's a new and experimental drug. Fucking MMR vaccine has been around for decades. It's perfectly fine. It has helped stop people getting polio and... Well, I don't think the MMR vaccine kills polio. But it stopped them from getting measles and mumps. So fuck you with your pamphlet. And, But the kid's reading this pamphlet and mom's thinking, maybe there is something to that. Because, medicine isn't making Albie feel better. Which, I could maybe kind of understand you questioning that. Except, something about this scene right here. While the windows are rolled up, Mom is fucking smoking. With her fucking sick, cancer-ridden kid in the seat right next to her. Gee, I wonder why Albie's not getting better. Oh, it must be because medicine is bad and he needs raw foods. I'm sure it has absolutely fuck all to do with the fact that Mom keeps smoking right around him. A known carcinogen. Yeah, let's get him on raw food. But he can still be... Maybe he just needs to start smoking himself. Maybe that'll make things better. Now, Blondie and Simon are out in the woods or in the park. I don't know, a lot of trees. So I want to say woods. But they're out somewhere, outdoors. They're doing yoga. So Blondie doesn't notice when Poacher comes by and shoots a tranquilizer dart into Simon and takes him off and then drives off in his Jeep. So, yeah, it must be the woods because if it was a park, how are you going to drive your little Jeep through it? And Blondie's mad and she goes to her father and like, they stole Simon! And father has to point out that technically she stole Simon. And there's nothing he can really do about it, because if she keeps making a fuss about it, well, she might meet with an unfortunate accident. Which, happens to so many. I don't know. The Clintons might even be involved. But she's not going to stop. Meanwhile, over at the lab, in the cages, Simon is talking to this other named Sarah. Which I think, because I feel like she didn't actually give her name, but he calls her Sarah later, so it must be her name. I don't know. It's in subtitles, because, they can't speak English, they speak chimp. So, I don't know, but first off, she thinks she's the next Bruce Lee, because she's got kung fu skills. Which is good, because Simon has ninja skills, so he has this plan to escape. But Sarah tells him, it's just not possible. It's too dangerous. And then the researchers come for Sarah, and they inject her with something. And then they're like, she's probably going to die in a few days. But, they're not too concerned, because the head doctor scientist, she's got a plan. She's got some ideas. She just needs to, experiment some more on some more chimps. And then Sarah gets sent back to her cage. And she's either got, a huge tumor on the top of her head, or they, did surgery, and she's just got an open wound now. I can't tell, because we don't get too good of a look, because, they don't have the budget to make very fancy looking wound makeup. So, I don't know what exactly it is on her head, but either way, I think they wouldn't, just send her back to the cage with that. I mean, yeah, animal testing is cruel and inhumane, but from a practical point, if that gets infected and just shit just spreads across all the chimps and kills them all, you sacrificed one chimp to save the rest of them so that you can then kill the rest of them in your experimentation. I'm just saying, I don't know if they would have sent Sarah back with, a gashing open head tumor thing. Albie's mom decides, modern medicine isn't doing anything, so what the hey? Let's give this raw food thing a try. So Blondie comes over and, tells her all the things she needs to get rid of and all the things she needs to change, and apparently apple juice is good hair conditioner. I don't know. I might have misheard that. I don't care. Whatever. I'm not changing to a raw food diet. Fuck you, Blondie. But then she makes some homemade almond milk, which is, oh my god, the most amazing thing Albie's mom has ever tasted. This raw food diet, it's going to be hard, but she thinks it's going to be worth it. Meanwhile, Albie is hanging out at the pool with the little neighbor girl in her, bathing suit. Mom, are you going to allow Albie to hang out with this hussy? Because you were very upset about it earlier. She was stripping down to a bathing suit, and you're all like, Albie, you can't do that, you temptress, you harlot, you hussy, you Jezebel. You can always tell when I'm, trying to remember what the hell I'm supposed to say by me, repeating synonyms. Not synonyms, not cinnamon. I could go for some cinnamon. So, but on her way out, Blondie stops by and says to Albie, okay, I need your help because Simon is trapped in your mom's lab. So, could you possibly steal her ID badge for me? And Albie's like, yeah, but we're coming with you because you're going to need help. Because, we're into this spy shit. And, Blondie's like, okay, well, you guys are small, so you probably will come in handy. So Simon's talking to his lady friend Ape, and he's like, I'm going to get us out of here. And my friend, the Blondie girl, she's going to come and save us. And the lady ape is all like, don't trust humans. They're all terrible. They're all horrible. But Albie, back at home, he steals his mom's ID badge and sneaks out of the house. Because mom's so inattentive, it just was easy to get out of the house and no one noticed. Damn, Mom, you are just such a bad absentee parent. And so Albie and the next door neighbor girl and Blondie, they go into the lab, which, amazingly, the lab does not have any sort of security, which you would think, you've got animals, At the very least, to keep an eye to make sure the animals don't fucking escape the cage. No one's watching. Or maybe there are security guards and they're like, oh, you got your mom's ID badge. Well, you're okay to be here. Like, no fucking alarm to go off. Nothing. Just, wow. But they get Simon out, though Simon's kind of upset because he sees the picture on the mom's ID badge and he recognizes her. He's like, oh, she's evil. She hurt me. But they get Simon out. And the next morning, they're talking to Albie's mom because, it's her lab. And the evil poacher, he's like, I told you to lobotomize this chimp. Why did you not lobotomize? I specifically said lobotomize this specific chimp. Which, wow, it's going to be dangerous. Which, okay, if any of the chimps escape, yeah, I imagine they would be dangerous. So wouldn't it just be standard operating procedure to lobotomize them all then? Why did you specifically want Simon lobotomized? You know something about Simon. You know he's a super genius, don't you? And apparently the camera didn't catch anything. Like what? I mean, maybe the cameras got disabled. Maybe Blondie's that good. But the question I have is, because they're asking oh, did anyone have access to your ID badge? And she says oh no, my ID badge was with me all night. So couldn't they question that? Because if her ID badge was used to open the doors, shouldn't that be on record? Be like, lady, we have fucking record that your ID badge was used to open this. And then they're like, don't you have a son? And she's like, yeah, my son, who's gonna die in a few weeks. You think he could have kidnapped a chimpanzee? Lady, I think he could have. Because remember, this is a fucking super chimpanzee, super genius that you forgot to lobotomize. Well, I guess not forgot, because she just actively chose not to lobotomize the chimp. But, lady, you don't know what you've done. Because as the poacher tells you, chimpanzees, they'll go for the face or the groin. And, okay, I'd be like, okay, if the chimpanzee attacks my face, whatever, I probably deserved it. But if he's going to attack my groin, whoa. Okay, lobotomize that motherfucker. So Albie, Neighbor Girl, and Blondie take Simon to the jungle. Because apparently, no one's parents care where Albie or Neighbor Girl are. And it's time for Albie to take his pills and eat his granola bar. And Blondie's like, no, that's bad. That's full of junk. And he's like, but what am I going to eat? And Simon, who's the super genius, sticks a stick inside of a beehive to get some honey. Yum, honey. And Albie's like, but just honey? I'm a growing boy who's gonna die in a few weeks. Why can't I just have what I want? I mean, he doesn't say that, but he thinks that. At the very least, I'm thinking that. Kid's gonna die in a few weeks. Just let him be. But Neighbor Girl, who, I think she's 10 or 11, just fucking spouts off all sorts of super information about honey and microbials and all sorts of big words that even I don't know. Which kind of, is more a dig on me because I don't know that many words. I don't know a lot of multi-syllable words. Syllabolic? Sure, whatever. So Albie gets home and Mom's all she says she's worried sick, but she's very fucking calm about it. As someone who has come home late when I wasn't, or much later than my curfew, my mom, when she was worried sick, was very fucking angry at me. Or hysteric. Not, oh, I was worried sick about you. I'm glad you're home now. No, it's you fucking asshole, you never go out and do that again. You give me a call. Smack, smack, smack. But, I guess it's a rich white lady thing of not smacking your children. And this is why your fucking son is constantly running off. But true Mother of the Year award goes to her for this next part. Because then he's like, oh, can I borrow $2 from my friend? And his friend comes in. And it's the fucking homeless wino. And mom's like, okay, here's the $2. Get along. No, not, what the fuck are you doing with my child, you fucking homeless wino? There's no, I am calling the police. No, it's like, okay, toodaloo, don't hang out with adults anymore. Like, if I did that, my mom would have then just put me under fucking lock and key. Like, I can't trust you. Do you know what kind of sick perverts are out there? And, I was a kid back in the 80s when sick perverts, they were a thing, but we didn't really think about them. But we still had stranger danger. Now in 2015 or what, 2000, whatever this film is taking place, it's taking place in the 21st century. We know the real stranger dangers, and Mom, you are just not going crazy over the fact that your son was hanging out with a homeless wino? Granted, the homeless wino brought your son home, so, I guess there's that. So maybe you don't judge a book by its cover. I guess that's where we're going with this. Now, Albie doesn't want to eat dinner because, they should be eating real food, not food from a factory or from a tin. Which, you know what, lady? You are rich. You can afford to buy real food. Why are you eating food out of a tin? Like, I'm fucking poor, so yeah, I'm eating food out of a tin. Plus, it's fucking yummy, but that's beside the point. I can't afford real food that comes from trees and shit. No, but lady, you should... Like, what the hell? Like, at least order pizza again. But, I hope Albie at least ate what there was for tonight. And Mom's gonna go and get real food later, but... You know what? Fuck you, kid. Fuck you. That's how I feel about it. So Mom's just lounging, getting kind of sexy, taking off her high heels. Oh yeah, she's got her wine. And she turns on the TV, she turns to watch the news, and they go from reporting on Princess Diana's death to a scientist... Oh, wait, what? No, yeah. The news is reporting on Princess Di and the tragic auto accident that took her life. Remember, this movie takes place like 2009. Why the fuck are they just reporting on Princess Diana's death? And I'm trying to think, like, was there some big revelation they found like 10 years later or something? Like, oh, turns out the butler did it. He cut the brakes. No, why? Unless it... Even, like... Because I'm pretty sure the film takes place in 2009, so it wouldn't even be, like, the 10-year anniversary of it. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? Do better reporting, movie. But, we don't get too much of that, because the scientist, a reporter, who's talking like a scientist, it turns out that there's a carcinogen that's found in all processed foods. Oh no, we're all gonna die of cancer. I mean, it was kind of a guarantee. Like, how do we know? We don't know how the Neanderthals died. Did they die of cancer? It's a possibility that they also got cancer. And they were eating, like, fucking raw food. So, we don't know. What's this assumption that, like, the cavemen were fucking healthy. What, they lived to be, 30 years old? Yeah, what is this bullshit, more I think about it? Like, oh, we gotta live like cavemen and eat like cavemen. Why? What evidence do we have that cavemen were fucking healthier than us? You know what made them healthier? It's the fact that they had to run and hunt their food. they were constantly physically asserting themselves just to be able to eat. Unlike us, who could just call up the phone and have a pizza delivered to us. So, really, it's not the food, it's the fucking lack of exercise that's killing us. We don't know how many dinosaurs died of cancer. Because I'm sure dinosaurs died of cancer too. I want to study on that. But so Mom, she's all like, oh no, it's true. There are carcinogens in our food. And she goes, looks up on the website and you know what's... Or first she's looking through all like the household cleaners. Like, why are you looking through that? Are you fucking eating? Like, you're drinking Windex? Is that what's going on here? No. Okay, no. I mean, it could still give you cancer just touching it, right? Whatever. But she's looking through the website of known carcinogens. And you know what's there? Cigarettes. And she finally, for the first time in her life, looks at the warning on a cigarette box of, may cause cancer. Oh no! And she throws the box and, face it, Mom, it's your fault. And I'm still saying it's not even the processed foods that killed your kid or is killing your kids. It's the fact that you fucking smoked in front of him. And I am not letting that go. Maybe if this was the 1950s and, you know, you still had ads where doctors are telling you about the T-zone and, you know, try this cigarette because it will be much healthier for you. No! We're fucking inundated all the time. You know, even 2009, we still got all those fucking annoying truth commercials of like, hey, you think you're just having fun, but cigarettes are gonna kill you. And this never crosses your mind, Mom, and you smoke in front of your kid, so fuck you. Fuck you for not realizing this, and oh, now you realize cigarettes are bad for you. Now, Simon has a dream that he's back at the lab, and one of the lab techs, I don't know, might be Albie's mom, I can't tell, because her face is like burned and scarred in half, and she's got a flamethrower, and she's just setting everything on fire. Oh, what a terrible, terrible nightmare. I've been there. I've had that nightmare. So I think the wheels are turning in Simon's mind that he's got to go save his animal brethren. Meanwhile, I guess it's after school or whatever, and Albie's mom is just lounging, drinking her wine, a sexy little dress and her sexy little heels. And damn it, what? This is what happens when a movie I start to like just really hate it. I just get turned on by the mom. I don't know if that has anything to do with the rest of the film. She's just... maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome, and she's starting to look really good to me. And Albie comes home, and she's like, you're late, Albie. Again. And again, she's like so fucking calm, probably because she's drinking all the time. Lady, your kid is dying! And you're like not concerned. Like, you didn't even go look for him. You're just like, whatever. He'll be home eventually. Mommy's got her wine. Mother's little helper. It's just, wow. I hate her. And I hate that I want to bang her. It's just so wrong. It's... So, and then Albie's like, I don't want to take my pills anymore. And she... Because again, she's drunk. In my opinion, she must be drunk. She's like, you know what? You don't have to take the pills anymore. Which again, like, sure. I mean, the kid's got weeks to live, so I've been saying, like, fucking stop medicating him, stop the radiation, let him live the last few weeks of his life free and happy, and macking it to the neighbor girl. And so they go to the doctor, and it's time for the latest, round of radiation. But he's got to take, all sorts of medication beforehand. But Mom's like, you know what? Can you run a blood test to check how he's doing? Because he's feeling great ever since he's gone on this healthy diet. And the doctor's like, there's no way it could be better. And she's like, don't you know what they do in carcinogens in the food and all that? And he's like, fine, whatever. do the blood test. It's your money anyhow. So they run the blood test, and doctor can't believe it. Oh my God, the cancer is in remission. It's been months, only months, which I thought Albie had less than that to live, but whatever. He's cured now, basically, because cancer's in remission. And I was going somewhere with that, but yeah, amazing. This cancer that was in every part of his body is now in complete remission. Doctor says that's impossible. But the mom's like, did you know that they're serving carcinogens in our school food and all that, and I feel responsible for my kid having cancer, conveniently leaving out once again that she fucking smoked in front of him, because that would give the doctor ammunition. So fuck your moral high ground, lady, that you're going, because she's like, just an apple a day will keep the doctor away, but there's a problem with that, because then you can't charge for medicine. And, yeah, fuck you, doctor. Who needs doctors, right? Just eat raw fruit, and you'll be good. You never need a doctor whatsoever. Get me some stats on this. How many people on raw foods diet still get cancer? Maybe it's a smaller percentage. Maybe there's something to it. But it's not going to prevent it 100%. But then people will be like, oh, but there's just pollutants in the airs. And, but again, mom smoked in front of the kid. So fucking get off your high horse, lady. Doctor, sure, he wants to get paid, but he has taken the Hippocratic oath. And you're just a hypocrite because you smoked, but you don't admit it to the doctors that I smoked in front of my kid, but it must have been the food he ate that gave him cancer. Albie goes to see Simon and Blondie out in the jungle, and should the police have an APB out for her? Wouldn't she be the number one suspect for the chimpanzee being kidnapped? Because it's specifically the chimpanzee that she kidnapped beforehand. And fucking planter guy, not planter, poacher dude, he fucking stole him back from her, so he knows that it's her chimp. At least technically it's his chimp, but she took it and he took it back, so she should be the number one suspect to get it again. Or at least, put a trail out on Albie, since the one guy, he thought, could possibly have been him. But, no, and Blondie says, they gotta go back to the lab, because she knows. Even though Simon doesn't, do sign language, she knows that Simon wants to go back to rescue his friend from the lab. Which, at least if, because he's a super smart chimp, so shouldn't he have learned at least sign language so that, they could communicate? Then I'd buy it okay, yeah, whatever. So Albie gets his mom's ID card once again, and they break into the building. Not break in, they just swipe the card and go in, and still no fucking security guards? You just had a chip stolen! How do you not... Okay, maybe the first time around, we didn't think anyone would break in and steal a chimp. But now you know that it's on the table that someone might break in and steal another chimp. Because the first one was so easy to get, they're going to try again. But no, let's not get security guards. And so they go in and they find Simon's friend, but she's dying and then dies. And Simon uses his superhuman chimp strength to break the door off the cage. What? You could have done this the whole time you were inside of the cage earlier? You didn't think... Maybe it's just one of those things he was so overcome with grief, it just built his strength up. Rah! It's Hulk Chimp Smash. Or should it be Chimp Hulk? I don't know. whichever. But then finally the alarm starts going off after them being, they were in the room for like 5 minutes at the very least, and then who knows how long before that they were like walking around the building. And now the alarm finally decides to go off, and Albie's mom shows up. So, wait, what? So either she was already in the building and didn't have her ID card on her, or she got into the building without her ID card. What? What kind of fucking 2-bit research lab is this? Like, I'm thinking that anyone could just walk in. Fuck, I could walk in and walk out with a chimp and they will question, like, is that your chimp? Oh, yeah, I walked in with him. Okay, on your way, sir. And so then Mom, she's like, what's going on? And Albie's like, this is my friend Simon, the one that's helped me to learn to eat raw fruit and how life is precious and life is beautiful and, I don't know, other stuff. And to pick fleas out of other people's hair. And Mom comes to a realization. Animal testing is cruel and wrong. And while this has been like another 5 minutes of them just there with the alarm going off, and finally someone walks in, hits the poacher and the other dudes, or other people from the lab. Took them this fucking long to go, hey, wait a minute. Alarm is going off in our lab. Let's go check it out. No police! Because, oh, yeah. Why not call the police when your alarm's just going off? Oh, Poacher Dude did bring police with him. Detectives. Plainclothes detectives. That's why I was confused. But, so, they're there like, oh, you gotta give the chimp back. It's his property. And they're all like, no! You can't give him back. He's a intelligent creature. And he knows sign language, so he's gonna testify against Poacher Dude. Which I'm curious. I want to know more about that. That is the fucking plot. What the hell? What is there to... I mean, Poacher Dude, like, illegally, like, got these chimps, so, yeah, there's crimes to be charged against him. But how is the chimp gonna testify on this? Like, and I don't mean literally, because he's gonna use sign language. What does he have to testify? Like, yep, I was a free man, and this guy took me, and his evil ass sold me into slavery. I'm curious. That's the film I want. I want the trial of Poacher Dude. But, the police hands are tied, They gotta chain up the chimp because it is property of Poacher Dude, and, what can they do? That's just the law. They can't just let the chimp go. But they're pleading, no. And then the chimp grabs a marker and writes on the board, free man. Just technically, you're not, dude. You're a free chimp. And even technically, you're not free because you do kind of belong to someone. But, slavery. Just because... Oh my god, that's what they're going for. Because, okay. So after he writes free man, one of the detectives... And this is just clicking to me. The black detective sees that and is like, I cannot chain this guy up. It's a parable about slavery. This chimp is a free man. And the black guy understands why you shouldn't chain up intelligent creatures and pretend they're property. Oh my god, this movie is brilliant. It's subtle. And they link their arms together. And the black detectives leads them in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Which, at the time, I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, yay, America? But no, because America is about freedom and free man. And we should not chain up the chimp. Because that was what they did to the slaves. I am not going to then go down the road of chimp and black people. That's a little dicey connotation there, which I don't think the film meant. But then again, I honestly don't think the film meant to kind of be like, hey, were freeing the slaves by freeing this chimp. I don't know. I'm now just twisting myself in knots over this. But, again, the law is the law, so chimp belongs to Poacher Dude, who takes out his, like, little electroshock thing, his electric stick. What are those called? The stun guns? Is it a stun gun? It's a stun stick. And he uses it to zap Simon. Cattle prod, that's what it is. He's got a cattle prod. But Blondie steps in front of him and kind of dares him like, cattle prod me instead of the chimp. And then her dad, the colonel in the army, he pops in because, sure, why not? Let's just get everyone in. And he's like, I thought I knew what a soldier was before, but now I know what true strength is. And as your commanding officer, I order you to keep fighting. Which, I'm not entirely sure if he is her commanding officer, even though it is his daughter. But I don't know, because she's not actually part of the unit, is she? She's just like a researcher. I don't know if the chain of command works there, where him giving the order, like, absolves her of any crime, because she has to follow the orders of her commanding officer. So I don't think it quite works here, but, then he gives a speech, and she gives a speech, and, fuck, I'm trying to remember what happened, because so much happens, while at the same time, absolutely fucking nothing happens. But, like, a lot of speeches, and blah, 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 but, like, no, we have to take him in, we gotta follow the law. It's important. Don't make the cops out to be the bad guys here. They often are, but right now, they have to follow the law. And then they get a call. Oh no, there's a warrant out for Poacher Dude's arrest. Which, I want to know more! There's a trial that the chimpanzee can testify against him. There's a warrant against his arrest, or a warrant for his arrest. And, he's desperate, so he grabs his gun and pulls it out. It's just a stun gun. It just shoots blow darts. But still, the police don't know it, because he's trying to go out in a blaze of glory. He's trying to do suicide by cop, because he knows he's cornered. But then Simon goes over to him and shakes his hand. Because Simon's the only one smart enough to not go for violence. And Poacher Dude is like, whoa, this totally blows my mind. Wait a minute, you wrote Free Man. You want to be a free man. This all makes sense to me now. I was wrong. I should not enslave you. I am sorry, dude. And yeah. No, it really, just like that, that happened at the slavery times, right? The slave, shook the hand of the white master, and the white master was like, I understand now. That's basically what happened. The chimpanzee shook his hand, and he's like, animal testing is wrong, and everyone's glad that now he got it. He understands. So the narrator, in the future, brings us up to speed on what happens to everyone. Poacher Dude, he goes on trial and is sentenced, but gets released for good behavior. They still didn't tell us what he was arrested for, or maybe they did at some point and I just didn't pay attention. Either or. And Mom and Blondie started their own veterinary practice, and Simon has gone to live among the other chimpanzees and is very happy, but mankind still has a long way to go. Which in another film, that would just be kind of creepy and ominous, mankind has long to go. The apocalypse is upon us! But that was Amazing Ape. What a wretched film this was. I always knew I was going to do that, so I don't know why I didn't take the time beforehand to actually write something. To write a good joke with that, but ugh, Amazing Ape. And I did not get my ape in a lab coat. That's the whole reason I watched this film, was I was expecting an ape in a lab coat. That seemed so exciting to me, and I did not get it. I am so upset. But what do we learn? Animal testing, bad. Which is true. Cigarettes, bad, but we're not gonna focus too much on the fact that she smoked around her son. Oh, no. That was just a minor contribution to his cancer. Big thing was, all the processed food and shit. And Princess Di was dead in a car accident. Why the news was covering that, I don't know. I don't know anything. Do you know anything? If you know something, velvetowl@hotmail.com. Or leave a comment on the comments page if you're on YouTube. Or if you can find another way to get a hold of me. Pony Express. Or just track me down like some crazed stalker. It's all good. No, actually, it probably isn't good if you're stalking me, but I would actually feel kind of flattered if you stalked me. But until next time, let me know if there's some movie you want me to watch so you don't have to. Peace and love, and click. And I want to thank the Living Brain Dead for providing the official theme song for Velvet Owl Watches Movies So You Don't Have To. It's called Never Fuck With Catgirls, and you can get it at livingbraindead.com, which you should totally do. They are not paying me for this, so I shield them out of my love for the music.